Hi everyone, it's Ed from Runnable. So this is a really quick run race review of the Puma Fast-R Nitro Elite 3. So I ran with this shoe in Oakhill Parkrun literally about a couple of hours ago. So it's fresh in my mind what I thought of this shoe. What I will caveat though, this review, is that I messed up the start of that parkrun. So I got there late. I also then had to like weave in and out of people. So, and I've also just run the London Marathon. Those that don't know about this channel, I ran that last weekend. So all in all, it wasn't the perfect environment to test these shoes out. But that said, I think I learned a lot about them during that run. And I'm going to quickly explain what I thought it was like to run in this shoe, what I liked about the shoe, what I didn't like about the shoe, and then we'll go through some key categories, and then I'll do a final analysis of whether I think this would be a good purchase for you or not. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm running late this morning, really late. I've got the Puma Nitro Fast-R Nitro Elite 3s on, where they get a chance to actually run in them or race in them. It's another not the ideal start, to be honest. That guy in front seems a bit casual, given how late it is. It's actually gone 9, so maybe he's not running. Fuck. Oh well, it's fucked it. Start here. Let's go. That's the first time ever I've missed the start.
The hot stand at the top. Yeah. Wait, where's the start? Like that. Another one.
Yeah, there is a lot to do.
2, 3. Trent Park! Let's have it! Right, I'm here with Alex today. Alex, what happened today, mate?
What happened is, thankfully, you came late. That always helps.
Yeah.
So I tried to put you off, insisted you had a curry last night,
Yeah.
which seems to have set you back slightly.
A little bit.
Got
yeah.
here, beautiful day.
Yeah.
First time I've ever done a park run in the sunshine, because I only ever
Is
run
it?
this in winter. Yeah, my
Okay.
whole life.
Yeah, yeah.
literally ever. Luckily, not too many folk around. Beautiful day for it, and managed to hold off this guy and get first.
So you
if I'm
won.
allowed to say that. In
You
a
won.
park
He
run
won. He
context.
took my title. Can you believe that? So that was your first win here, right?
First ever win here.
Yeah. First, you've won in America recently.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
which makes me sound pro. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I now win on other continents.
Yeah. What's your
internationally,
next? What's
I
your
win
next continent?
Yeah, I need to find other countries.
Australia.
The only one I can do is Australia. That's the only other continent
Yeah.
we've got. Australia. If anyone wants to sponsor me to park run in Australia,
Yeah. All right. You can add to the comments, right, whether you're going to sponsor him or not. Give me your email address, and I'll
put in the GoFundMe.
I'll pass it. I'll pass it on to Alex. So Alex, how did it feel? Did you feel me breathing down your neck at any point?
I saw you on this corner, which viewers may not fully know, but
Yeah.
the sharp Oakhill turn that regulars will understand. And as I went past there, I did see his little bright, sort of flowery top here coming the other way.
My lovely top. I was going
And
to say
then
something
inevitably
else
you
then,
start thinking, that's probably about 30 seconds behind. And then it's just sheer panic / adrenaline.
But I have to say, I got nowhere near him. I was focusing on this young lad. What's his name? Harry or Henry? Or
Henry, yeah.
Henry, who's an
Cowan ran very well.
amazing runner. He must be what? How old do you think?
13?
13.
To find him, yeah.
And he came third.
Sure, he'll watch this. He'll be a YouTube fan at that age.
Yeah, so third. I was focusing on him, and I actually didn't even realise you were running until you saw me. Yeah, over there.
That's how stealthy I am, all in black. No one even knows I'm here.
Yeah.
I just come in late.
And then at the end, I saw you just sat on the floor. Obviously, put your work in, right?
In the running industry, it's known as dying a miserable death on the floor. Yeah.
But
that last sprint hurt a lot.
in general, have you got any goals, Alex, for your running goals?
The main park run thing, and I do love park run, is I
Yeah.
really do want to do London and get around all the courses, which won't happen this year.
No.
By definition, if I did one every week, I would just about get there in a year. I really want to do that, but otherwise, it's PB. I mean, it's just, as we always talk about, at our age, it's just, can you get your PB on each course, keep fighting, keep working, learn technique. Like I'm having come back to this later in life. Fascinated by the technique. How you can push your body. Learning, reading the books.
I know you're a big student of it now, aren't you?
I just love it, and that's when you're hurting in a run. That's all you can do, right? Is just think, hit the feet properly, move the hips, move the shoulders.
And just so people can get an idea, because you're a bit like me in terms of how much you've improved over a short period of time, right? So roll back a year and give the viewers an idea of how much you've now improved in terms of times, over 5k.
Yeah, so I only started this at the end of sort of 22, but then I was injured all through 23. As in 2023. Did a bit, this is the bit where we try not to get run over. Did a bit end of 23, which I guess I then wanted to end of 23, I just wanted to break 20 minutes. I came back, I had no idea, I'd never done one before, so you're thinking, don't know, do I do 25, 23? No idea. Wanted to break 20. Injured all through last year. First run back was mid-October last year, so thankfully since mid-October, and then it's gone, trying to break 20 again. Got paced a couple of times to break 20. Got into the 19s, mid-19s, probably then. That's when I started reading the books and working on the technique. Shout out to Des as well. Des,
Barnet
runner,
Barnet legend.
Barnet legend. Hey, a few tips from him. That got me sort of low 19s. It's only, I don't know, last few months it's then broken 19.
So let me get a recap. So from last October, you were breaking 20 minutes, or trying to break 20.
Trying to break 20. I think I'd gone under 20 maybe once or twice before, a year earlier. But I wanted to get back to
And now 20. You're almost, or you are breaking 18, or?
No, today was about something like 18-15, something like that.
Okay.
But it's it's a solid.
That's amazing.
Graph's going the right way.
Yeah, it's definitely going the right way. In fact, that is ridiculous figures, really, considering October was not that long ago, and you're like smashing 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Oh, you'll be 2 minutes soon, won't you? Off that time, off those times.
It makes you think, doesn't it? It all comes down to like what can you get to, and that's interesting with you as well, Ed, right? Like, sorry. Oh, there we go. Sorry. More urbanised area may kill this chat. We'll go for a minute. It just makes you think, like, what can you get to? And as I said to you, like, I would love to just do one day, know people, pace properly, to see.
Do a track run,
what are we all capable of?
Maybe me and you should do that, right? Then let's go full out, see where we get to. Adding a couple more of the guys in, like Ryan and Toby and a few others, and it'd be a group
unbelievable
of us.
to see what we can all do. And then same for other stuff, because I never ran anything as a kid, so I have no idea what my 1500 is, right? What's my 3k sleep? I've got no idea. Like, it'd just be amazing to know what your time is.
I mean, in that way we're quite similar, because I hated long distance running. I was a sprinter, so I always doing 100 meters. So I did do track, but it was never long distance. It was always the faster stuff, which I liked at the time. And then it got a bit too serious. When you're young, you get a bit overawed with it. I didn't have the emotional maturity to deal with losing.
And
then I gave up basically, and I started drinking loads, as you do at that age. A bit older actually, but anyway, I think that's good for us. But just final thoughts on today.
Love it. I'm really proud that I've done this. I wanted to do it. I mean, jokes aside, it isn't about winning. PB is important. I wouldn't care if guys got 15, 16 and but it's just delightful. We're out here in the sunshine, running of a morning. Parkrun's an incredible initiative. Proud to be part of it.
And your favourite running shoes at the moment?
Oh, these are Asics. Oh, right. They're going to now sponsor me.
Asics. Asics what?
Gel Kayano, I think.
Gel Kayano. So they're good. They've got some stability features, haven't they?
These are. They're not. I don't think they're massively fast. No. But again, I care more about not getting injured.
I've heard good things about those. Asics in general. smashing
I'm
it.
just, I still need the support.
Yeah.
2 hip injuries.
Yeah,
Viewers
yeah.
don't want to know about that.
We're showing our age.
2 hip operations mean that I need stability on my hips, and maybe one day I will invest in some really funky fast.
So that's the addition of Dad's Army over, and so we'll see you soon.
Pleasure. Great to be part of it.
Bye bye.
See ya.
Okay, all done. So, as you might have seen from the footage, I missed the start for the first time ever. And I did the right thing, and I jogged to where the start line is, and then started, you know, on my race or run. So I didn't cheat, which meant I lost a lot of time, probably somewhere in the regions of a minute or around about that, maybe slightly less. And I had to do a lot of dodging and weaving. Legs were still tired from London as well, so it wasn't ideal, but I still managed second place, and the shoes actually felt really good. Actually, they kept me bouncing along. I did have a tight calf, sort of kicked in around the second lap, so I don't think that's the shoes. I think it's just general wear and tear from London. So that meant that I couldn't really push it as hard as I would like to, and it's probably just as well, because you shouldn't be doing that a week after, less than a week after the London Marathon. But what I would say, the shoes just kept me bouncing along lovely. They're really nice actually. They're not as wild as you get with some shoes. Like, they're not like the Wave Rebellion Pro Beta, for instance, or the Wave Rebellion Pro 3, where you get that massive bounce. You don't get that, but you get this nice kind of trampoline-y effect when you land on the forefoot, or you transition onto the forefoot. And if you can hit the ground on the forefoot with quite a lot of force, then I can imagine this shoe is going to really get you going. It seems a very efficient shoe, like the studies have said. Didn't feel like I was having to push that hard to reach some decent pace. I'd love to take these when I'm feeling a bit better and when I'm not late for a start. So maybe next weekend I'll do another park run, and we'll go somewhere quick, or quicker than Oakhill, and we'll really put them through their paces rather. I have a feeling that they could be very rapid. I'm not though convinced yet they're as fast as the Edge or even the Hoka Cielo X 2.0. I'm yet to be convinced of that. They do remind me of the original Alpha Fly, which for me was a really good 10k half marathon shoe, and I think that's going to be where the sweet spot of this shoe is up to, but also including marathons. You get a nice lot of cushioning, so I think it would be good for marathons, but I'm not convinced this is my 5k shoe of choice, but I might be wrong, so I've got to do it justice when my legs are feeling a bit better. Hopefully next weekend I'm going to really push it in these shoes and see what they're made of. But for now, I'm very impressed. Yeah, I think they're a good shoe. You can't really go wrong with this shoe. If you land on the, they're actually saying that if you land on the heel, if you land back on the heel, then you'll have to get over that bevel. You might find it difficult, but apart from that, the rest of us, I think, should be absolutely fine. I think it will work with most people's running mechanics, and it didn't feel unstable actually. I had to do a lot of running on the grass, coming off the path to get round people, and it felt absolutely fine. There you go. Thanks for watching. Put in the comments if you tried this shoe, or if you've got any observations or questions, let me know. It's been a bit of a mess up this morning, part of a park run, but still got second place, still managed on my Strava, I think it was 18:01, park run time 18:30 because of all the messing around, but you know, I'll take that every day of the week. You know, anyway, that's all I want to say. I'm rambling now. I'll do some footage of me reviewing the shoe and give you a proper lowdown of how it felt on the run race, and you know, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and then generally what I feel it's best suited for. I'll see you later. Bye bye. But without further ado, let's do some very quick stats on the shoe for those that know nothing about this shoe, which I find hard to believe given all the publicity. I'm not going to go into the trials or the research that was done in this shoe. I covered that in the last video, so if you want to have a look at that, please look at some of the footage in my last video on this. I'll include it at the end so you can click through. But in terms of key stats, it's 190 grams in my UK size 9.5. I went up half a size. I probably didn't need to. We'll cover that when I cover the upper in a minute. But still incredibly light shoe, comparable with the Metaspeed Sky Paris. So as we know, that's an incredibly light shoe. So those that are looking and take a great interest in the weight of a shoe, I think that's a very important thing to acknowledge, that this is one of the lightest running shoes, racing shoes out there on the market. It's got an 8mm drop, your traditional 40, 32 in the forefoot. I have to say, it didn't feel like an 8mm drop to me. It's soft-ish, the foam. It's this aliphatic TPU, but it's a different blend that was in version 2. It's a softer blend of foam, which means that do compress it a bit more than you do this shoe, which means that it feels slightly flatter. Particularly you guys that land around here, you're going to compress it, this big bulk of the foam, quite a bit, and it's going to feel like less of a drop for you. I land around here, so it's never a big deal for me, the drop, but it's something to be aware of. Although it says 8mm, when you do land further back, it feels a bit flatter than that, if you know what I mean. So they're the key stats. Let's go through the upper very quickly. So very, very lightweight upper. It's translucent, so you can see my fingers poking through there. Very light, one of the lightest uppers I think out there on any shoe. Maybe only the 361 degrees Miro, the Chinese shoe that I've got, has got a lighter weight upper. But this is so light, it feels like that kind of baking paper almost that you use when you're baking with cakes. Not that I do a lot of that actually, but for those that do, you'll know what I mean. It feels that kind of material. It tapers in quite a lot in the forefoot. So those of you with wide feet, you may consider going half a size up. What I would say though is I got more than a thumb's width at the top there, which is not ideal. So I would say, unless you've got really wide foot, I'd go true to size in this shoe. And if I had my chance over again, I'd buy size 9. And I would put up with the tapering just so that I'm nearer to this area where obviously you've got the plate sticking out here, which we'll talk about in a minute. So all in all, upper I love. I get really good lockdown. It's got a nice collar, semi-rigid counter. The only thing I don't like so much is the tongue. It's too wafer thin, and this pillow here does not come up long enough so that when you cinch the laces, you're not getting that pillow, which is a bit annoying at the top, I mean. But that said, I got a good lockdown. Didn't really get much lace bite in the top of my foot. So all in all, I think the upper's pretty damn superb. I would say 5 out of 5 for the upper. Right up there with the Nike Alpha Fly 3. If you like that upper, you're going to like this one because it wraps around the foot in a very similar way to that shoe. It's a bit more synthetic feel to this upper. Laces are fine as well. So that's the upper. Outsole, Puma grip, big wodge of this rubber here. It's quite thin though, just to bear that in mind. So it's not by any means as grippy as this shoe in version 2. So I think those of you who are looking for something that's as grippy as the version 2 or version 1 of this shoe, the Fast-R series, you might be disappointed. It's not as grippy as that, but it's still pretty grippy, to be honest. This rubber compound that Puma uses is really, really good. Less coverage on the heel, as you might expect, but all in all, decent outsole. You can see the plate sticking through and you can see the gap in the plate there. All in all, I think it's a good outsole. I give this 4.5 out of 5. No issues whatsoever with slipping. That said, today was perfect conditions, so I didn't really have to worry about that. And then midsole. So we've seen the plate here. You can see the plate's got some holes in it. So it's not a completely solid plate. It's got I think it's got about 7 layers, I read somewhere. What I would say is that when you land on the forefoot area here, and if you land hard, you do feel that plate, you do feel the foam compressing, and you do engage the plate. You get nice compression, decompression with this shoe, nice bounce. This area feels a bit trampoline-y, very much like the original Alpha Fly did for me. And there are some similarities. You look at the shape, for instance, this is just a bigger area, right? But there are some similarities with how it feels to run in this shoe. You get a really nice spring forward. It's not ridiculous. It's not like the Endorphin Pro Beta or Pro 3. It's not as wild as, say, the Prime X Strung in those kind of shoes, but it is still quite nice and bouncy, this shoe. So when I ran the parkrun, I got a really nice bounce, and my legs were a bit tired from London. You know, I got there late. Things weren't going my way, basically, from my own fault, basically. I had a curry the night before, so I'll leave that to your imagination why I might have been late. Another stupid move. But things weren't going my way, but this kept me flowing, kept me bouncing along. I think because I land around here, it's perfect for just landing and bouncing forward. The rocker is nice. It's not extreme like with the Hoka. So it's not as an extreme early stage rocker like this one. You can see the difference, how far back this rocker starts compared to this shoe. But it's still decent enough to get a nice roll through. You get more toe spring in this shoe than you do this shoe, and your toes are feeling like they're doing a little bit more work in the Fast-R Nitro Elite 3 than they do in the Hoka shoe. Hoka shoe really relies on the geometry, the nice bouncy Puma foam to keep you rolling through and bouncing along, whereas this relies more on that compression, decompression, engaging the plate and throwing you forward. Whereas with the Hoka shoe, I don't feel like I'm engaging the plate as much as I do with this shoe. I have to say that I'd slightly prefer the geometry of the Hoka, and if this shoe had that earlier stage rocker and was a little bit more aggressive in that respect, it could actually be the perfect shoe for me, because the foam itself, that aliphatic TPU, and the compression and decompression I get from this is amazing. It's similar to the Sky Paris. Those who like the feel of that, when you land and you toe off in this shoe, you get the similar sort of feel to this. But you've got that more of a kind of like a spring pad effect like you have with the Alpha Fly. Which means actually that it's very similar. It's somewhere in between these two shoes. So it's got the best of both worlds for these shoes. It's light, like the Sky Paris, and you gauge the plate in a very similar way, but it's got that trampoline pad effect like with the original Alpha Fly, that, you know, I've not really felt in any other shoe since this one. So those who love that original Alpha Fly, I think you're going to really like this shoe. So they're the things I like. The only things I didn't like about this shoe is the tongue. Really, it's too thin, too short, something that could easily remedy. And this thing, the plate sticking out here, I don't feel like I'm engaging that. I do wonder if it's a little bit gimmicky, but some people, some reviewers that have talked about the shoe, so they, like Ed Budd, said he did engage that. And I think maybe it's because I went half a size up, so my toes are about back here, and if they were up here, somewhere up here, I would be engaging that more. So I think it might be more to do with my sizing than the shoe itself. But that said, I feel like even with that, it's a little bit of a gimmick, to be honest. The other thing I don't like about the shoe, and it's not the shoe's fault, it's all the publicity around it, all the kind of science that and research that have gone into it. I much more prefer to run and feel what it's like to run in a shoe rather than go based on people running on a treadmill. So just be careful about that. Do not, I mean, these are athletes running on treadmills, completely different environment to what most of us will run in. So don't buy it alone on that. Look at some of these reviews. I bought this with my own money, so you know I'm not biased. I've got no allegiance to Puma. In fact, generally, Puma shoes I haven't got on with. I think this is the best shoe so far from Puma, the one I get on with the most. I know lots of people love the DB8 Nitro Elite 3. I prefer this shoe. I think it's because I've got that bounding style where I open up my stride and I really bounce along. So that leaves me to my final point of dislikes. And again, it's not a problem with this shoe, but I don't feel this shoe is going to suit you guys with that are cadence runners that like to kind of shuffle along without much stride length. I think you won't engage the plate so much in this shoe. You won't engage the springy pad and launch that you get in this shoe so much. And I think there are better shoes out there in the market, like the Edge Paris, for instance, for you guys. I think this shoe is really suited for those that bound along, those that really hit the ground with force, those that like to open up their stride and really go for it. And that's where I think the sweet spot will be for runners of that ilk. So that's the only other things, is slight negative and versatility of this shoe compared to some others. Where do I think the shoe lies in terms of racing? I think you can definitely use this over 5K today. With all that happened to me, I still ran, according to Strava, 18 minutes dead. Parkrun, obviously time was slower than that because the race had already started, so I had to run to the finish line when people were coming the other way, and then I had to navigate lots of people. I still managed to get in second, which I'm delighted with, and there's a video of me and the guy who won it, Alex, who I know through, he's a dad of one of the boys in the same, who used to be in the same class as my daughter. So we met that way. He's a really nice guy, very knowledgeable about running. So please watch some of the footage, race footage. You'll see him at the end. And we have a chat on the way back before we got a coffee. But yeah, I just felt like the race, because of all the stuff that went on, it meant that I couldn't really racing this to the full maximum. But I do think it's effective shoe for 5Ks. I think the sweet spot will be 10K and half marathon, perhaps marathon. I think maybe for me, I'd prefer something with a bit more of a rocker, something that when I land, I get thrown a bit more forward rather than bounce with toe off, which I'm less keen on generally shoes. That's why I prefer the Edge Paris now to the Sky Paris. But those of you like the Sky Paris and you like that toe off and that spring you get, you're going to love this shoe. I think that's pretty much it. So put in the comments if there's anything else you want to know about the shoe. I think in summary, this is a real player now from Puma. I think this is another level above the DB8 Nitro Elite 3. But what I would say is those that like that shoe, if you've got that cadence style of running, which a lot of people have that love that shoe, you might find this more difficult to transition to and get the best out of it. It might take you a bit of time to get used to it. So it's definitely not a shoe you can straight away understand. You've got to run in it a few times to understand this shoe. But once you do, it's going to be an absolute banger, as someone might say. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next weekend going to a quicker parkrun and really hammering it this year and see what it can do. Maybe, just maybe, I can aim for a PB. I'm not sure I'm in that kind of form still after London, but who knows? Let's give it the best shot. Let's have it. See you later. Bye-bye.